America, where white people will no longer be the majority by 2050, the low total fertility rate of white women in comparison to other races has long been a cause of concern, leading to eugenics programs we've discussed in these videos. But how has this transformed in the modern era? Telegram founder Pavel Durov claims to have fathered over 100 children with in vitro fertilization and wants to open source his DNA because it's so special. By the way, Telegram is infamous for being a platform that shields child abusers and rapists, and it's popular in Russia, the Ukraine, and former Soviet Union nations. Here in the States, the immigrant Elon Musk has at least 11 to 12 children with at least 3 different women, including the artist Grimes. He came by it honestly, with his father Errol having 7 children with 3 women, and he's compared humans to breeding horses. By the way, Papa Errol had 2 of those children with a former stepdaughter. Not only is Elon Musk a fan of Genghis Kahn, but he has regularly espoused his natalist views that population collapse is the second biggest danger to civilization after AI. I guess he's changed his views on artificial intelligence like a bunch of other shit because he's a supervillain, but he actually is firm on natalism. In June of 2024, he posted that it should be considered a national emergency to have kids. Musk is a long-termist who believes that the use of extreme measures to avoid existential threat is justified, which also explains his long-term erection for Mars. He's also a positive eugenicist, which means he wants to offset the amount of undesirable, low-class people giving birth by encouraging the wealthy to have more children. He said, "I'm not saying like only smart people should have kids. I'm just saying that smart people should have kids as well." I noticed that a lot of really smart women have 0 or 1 kid. You're like, wow, that's probably not good. He's so steadfast in his beliefs of population collapse that Elon has allegedly offered random women his sperm, joked about impregnating Taylor Swift and Twitter users he overpays for engagement bait, and given $10 million to the University of Texas to study fertility and population. Wrote his daughter Vivian, "I understand your new angle is this Western values Christian family man thing, but it's such a weird choice. You are not a family man. You are a serial adulterer who won't stop fucking lying about your own children." While Elon's recent pivot to Christianity and right-wing values is as fake as the assassination attempt against Donald Trump, his natalist stances appeal to both Christians and techies who believe in vitro fertilization and other technology. On Twitter, propaganda of AI-generated blonde families with at least 4 to 5 children are weirdly finding their intended audience along with trad wife material. Transhumanism, aka the new eugenics, calls for improving humanity via modern technology like genetic engineering and artificial intelligence to improve the human race. This kind of stuff is up the alleyway of Simone and Matthew Collins, bespectacled secular Calvinist Republicans who spawned from Silicon Valley and believed that low fertility rates among high-achieving people could grind human progress to a halt and end the world. They want 7 to 13 children and currently have 4. Explain the Telegraph. As long as each of their descendants can commit to having at least 8 children for just 11 generations, the Collins bloodline will eventually outnumber the current human population. Who the fuck dreams about this shit? Like, who dreams about that? Relatedly, population ethics is the philosophical study of who and how many children are born in the future. In this discipline, totalists believe that society can improve by either increasing the average well-being of the current population or increasing the population of people with good well-being. Here's Elon Musk's mother, Maye, encouraging poor people to also procreate.
And you were recently getting a lot of attention because there was a comedian online who said, listen, I get it. People don't want to have, they're talking about the birth rate, which your son talks a lot about it declining and the problems for humanity with that.
You don't have to go to the movies. You don't have to go out for dinner. You can just spend time with the most wonderful gifts you can ever have as a children.
While the wealthy want their own birth rates rising, they'd also like you to breed their labor force. Never forget that. Rather than work to improve society as is, these privileged and wealthy people wish to increase their own numbers and maintain a class divide. These techie natalists are paralleled by evangelical Quiverful families, whom Catherine Joyce estimates to be 10,000 strong in America. They believe that interfering or manipulating fertility is against God. Though they've never explicitly promoted quiverfuls, the Duggars, who have 19 children, have been linked to the movement. Within the quiverful movement, the women are socialized from birth to believe that they are meant to always be sexually available to their husbands and ready for children, while men are taught the same. Read Psalm 127, 4-5. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. That quote took on new resonance in the late 70s through early 80s anti-abortion movement, and like the natalists who skew non-religious, adherents of the Quiverful movement believe that they are saving humanity with their children. They don't sound much different from white supremacists who encourage white women to have as many children as they can because it's their duty, or the black people who treat black women's wombs as potential weapons in the fight against white supremacy. Relatedly, lebensborn was the secret state policy of Nazi Germany that encouraged Aryan women to have as many children as possible and for German men to impregnate Nordic women in occupied countries to spread the greatness of Germany. Throughout history, this violent practice has reoccurred, as we discussed in Lectual Does the 90s with the Bosnian rape camps. In the present, J.D. Vance chided childless cat ladies whom he claims don't have a direct stake in the country's future. In 2019, J.D. Vance had proposed parents be able to vote on behalf of their children and to give steeper tax credits per child. This is similar to European developments in the face of increased immigration. Said Hungary's populist anti-immigration Prime Minister Viktor Orban in 2019, "We do not need numbers, we need Hungarian children." In Hungary, women with more than 4 children are exempt from income taxes for life. You can expect natalism to ramp up in the coming years in coordination with anti-choice policy and the immigration debate, plus rhetoric about male loneliness. Women who abstain from having kids will continue to be vilified as cat ladies, and they'll be blamed for the male loneliness epidemic, and incentives will be generated to encourage more kids. At the 2023 Natal Conference in Austin, Texas, a small far right-wing gathering where tickets were up to $1,000, it's abundantly clear what's gonna go down. Reported Gabby Delval on the Natal Conference, most of the first day of the conference is spent defining the problem. In a nutshell, sperm counts are historically low. Our bodies are full of microplastics. Public schools are indoctrinating children against the good Christian values with which they were raised. Dating apps have gamified romance, tricking lonely singles into believing that a better prospect is always around the corner. Women have been convinced that they can have it all. Kids and a career and endless vacations and so much more, only to end up unhappy, infertile, and alone. And as a side note, while geared towards a white audience, these are concerns displayed in recurring Black American discourse about dating, health, and society, which is important to keep a note on. Added Delval, here lies the project, spelled out in detail. The people who disagree have bloodlines that are slowly going to die out. To speed up that process, to have this particular strain of conservative natalist ideology become dominant quickly in the United States, everyone in this room has to have more kids and fast. Elon Musk would share footage of that conference in April of 2024 on Twitter. According to current estimates by the U.S. Census Bureau, in 10 years, 2035, the adult population will outnumber children, something that Project 2025 seeks to correct. A recent paper by a chief architect of Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, is that, quote, overconsumption of schooling is to blame. The best way to promote fertility isn't funding parenthood. It's stopping the government programs that discourage people from having babies. Current education policies push people to delay having families until they are much older and impose barriers to accessing religious education, both of which significantly reduce fertility rates. So their solution basically is that more people should be dumb to have kids they aren't financially prepared for or even sure that they want. Let's see how that goes.